Brad, tell me a bit about your artistic process.
Okay, for me, the image and the joke usually come at the same time. It's like I see the cartoon as a whole, and so that's how I sketch it out. It's like as soon as I think of the joke, I have the image in my head. So I tend to work on it as a unit. So I'll rough out a real rough image and then write the joke underneath it and then refine the image from that. I rarely will change the image, like change the setting, etc. once I have the initial idea. So it comes to me like a snapshot kind of thing.
Is it just you're walking down the street, you hear somebody or you see something and you go, wow, that would be really funny? Or is it, do you carry a notebook with you, taking notes as you drive around during the course of the day?
Yeah, most people text. I draw while I'm driving. So now, any way, the real every cartoonist gets asked about ideas, and the real truth about ideas to me is practice. You practice getting better at refining an idea, and I think that's what what really about coming up with a good idea is. It's not so much that the idea is good, it's that you know how to make it good. You know how to make it better than an average person drawing a cartoon. And you practice, you're doing a lot of them, so you get better and you get faster at it.
So you don't have like a notebook that has like a list of lines that you've won.
I do, but when I just when I just write the line out and I don't sketch the image out, I almost never draw the cartoon. There's something about that. It's like, because I used to do that, list out the cut line to draw the picture later. I mean, I just ended up with reams of cut lines, but I would never refer back to that whenever I when I was trying to come up with an idea. And usually I just sit down in front of the television with a sketch pad and just kind of draw out. I'll get 4 or 5 ideas at a time.
Does it matter what you're drawing on? Do you have to have a specific piece of paper?
I always draw, in fact, where is it? I always draw in this. I always draw on, in fact, here's an idea that I've been working on. And I always work on lined paper like that. I always draw with a ballpoint pen. I don't draw with I never draw with pencils anymore. So I always have this pad with me if I'm traveling, etc. But usually I sit down on Sunday and just draw out 4 or 5 ideas that I've gotten during the week. Sometimes I'll name the idea in my head. I'll give it a title so that I can remember what it is.
So those are going to be, so when you sit down on a Sunday, you relax, you're in front of the television, you then sketch out pretty much your ideas for the next week. They're going to be posted on fundaymorning.com.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, we're seeing lined paper.
Right.
Your sketches are, then what happens? How does that transform into what we eventually see?
Okay, so that was the original idea that I did. And I sketch it out well enough so that I can show it to anyone and they can look at it and tell what it is. Because usually when I first put something together, I'd show it to my wife and she was like, well, I can't read that and I can't see what it is. So I refine it to that point. And then I trace it on vellum, and I use vellum because you can press hard like with an ink pen and it won't curl up like regular tracing paper does. So I trace it out like this and I scale it because all the finished cartoons are 7 inches by 7 inches. And then then I blow them up on a Xerox machine. So this one's blown up 170% from the image I just showed you. And then I will trace that image onto another sheet of vellum one more time like this. And again, all this stuff's done in ballpoint pen. And then I put the cartoon on the light table with this image taped to the back of the paper, and then I trace it over onto the front of the paper like that with India ink. And I'll write the cut line underneath it, and that's just so that I can remember what it is, because when I first decided to go back into this, I had a bunch of cartoons. I'd never written the cut line down, and I had all these, I couldn't remember what the joke was. So now I write everything out, but if you focus in on that, you can see why I type in the cut line instead of use hand lettering. just because my penmanship's so bad. It's really difficult to read what I write.
How many hours, what is the time process for each one of your cartoons?
It's going to depend on the complexity of the image, and I would say it's probably I could probably do a finished cartoon in 5 to 6 hours if I sat down and did the whole thing from start to finish. But I very rarely work that way. I'll sit down and work for an hour or 2 hours, and I'm also kind of ADD. I watch TV, surf the web, listen to iTunes, go smoke a cigar. So I've never really sat down and done one from start to finish, just bang like that, but probably 5 hours.
So you estimate about 5 hours, so 15 hours worth of work goes into your 3 strips that come out each week on.
Yeah, easily.